Dust blew across the cracked main street of Willow Ridge as a midday sun beat down like judgment. The stagecoach pulled up in front of McGraw's general store, its horses panting and wild-eyed. From inside stepped a woman dressed in traveling brown and faded lace, her back straight despite the evident pain in her step. Sadie Walker gritted her teeth as she placed a cane on the ground. Her left leg dragged ever so slightly, a remnant of a childhood illness that had stolen part of her strength but never her spirit. She adjusted her bonnet and looked around, clutching a worn letter in her gloved hand. The letter was from Arthur Harlan, a rancher of modest means but good prospects. He'd advertised for a mail-order bride, a simple, honest woman with strong moral character. Sadie had responded out of desperation and hope, leaving behind an aging aunt and a threadbare life back in Kansas. She didn't expect a grand welcome, but she hadn't expected Arthur's reaction either. He stepped out of the saloon, lanky and sunburned, with sharp eyes that narrowed when he caught sight of her limp. "You're Miss Walker?" he asked. Sadie smiled, nervous. "Yes, Mr. Harlan." His expression faltered into a scowl. "You didn't say anything in your letters about being infirm." Her face flushed. "It's only a slight limp. I can cook, clean, ride, and—" "That's not what I asked for," he cut in. "I need a wife who can keep up with ranch life. You'd slow me down." The words stung like thorns. Sadie glanced around at the people staring from behind curtains and storefronts, her heart hammering with embarrassment. "I came all this way." Arthur turned on his heel. "Stage leaves again Tuesday. You best be on it." She stood frozen, humiliated, abandoned in a place where she knew no one. The dust settled. The crowd turned back to their business. No one offered help, except one man. He leaned against the wooden post of the feed store, hat drawn low, calloused fingers resting against the worn leather of his gloves. His name was Eli Morgan, a quiet cowboy who rarely spoke more than needed but always listened with full heart. He stepped forward, voice low and kind. "Miss, you need help finding a place to stay." Sadie looked up, eyes brimming but proud. "I suppose I do now." Chapter 2. A Place to Rest. Eli led her to the Widow Grant's boarding house, where he covered the cost of her room for a week and left without much more than a quiet nod. He didn't press her for thanks, nor did he gawk at her limp. In fact, he hadn't looked at it once. For the first time in days, Sadie breathed without her chest tightening. Days passed. She searched for work, sewing, teaching, even helping out at the bakery, but no one wanted to hire a woman who limped. Even if she could outwork most, she was still considered a risk. Pity followed her like a shadow. Each morning, she saw Eli ride past on his bay gelding. He'd tip his hat and sometimes leave her an apple or bouquet of wildflowers on the porch rail. He never said much, but the silence between them began to feel like something shared rather than empty. One evening, Sadie took a cane and hobbled out to the outskirts of town. She found him repairing fence posts along his modest stretch of land. "I don't like debts," she said softly. "You helped me when no one else would." Eli wiped his brow, meeting her eyes without flinching. "Don't believe kindness should come with a price. That's rare in these parts. Doesn't mean it's wrong." She smiled. "Do you always speak in riddles?" He chuckled quietly. "Only when I'm nervous." Her eyebrows rose. "You? Nervous?" His ears flushed red beneath his hat. That night, the stars came out like scattered coins, and they sat on the edge of his porch talking until the moon climbed high. Chapter 3. Thorns in Bloom. Word got around that Sadie was staying on past Tuesday. Some called her stubborn. Others said she was lying in wait for a new suitor. Arthur Harlan sneered every time he passed her in town, but Sadie held her head high. She helped Widow Grant in the kitchen, read stories to the town's orphans, brought meals to sick elders. She still limped, but somehow Willow Ridge started to forget it. Then came the night of the fire. The orphanage barn caught flame from a lightning strike, and a frantic rescue began. Eli was one of the first to ride out. Sadie followed, despite protest, cane in hand, determination in her bones. She didn't just help, she led, crawled through the smoke to pull out 2 toddlers. She coughed up soot for days after, and her legs swelled, angry and sore, but the town saw her differently after that. Even Arthur. He came to her with his hat in hand. "I spoke cruelly," he said stiffly. "Didn't mean to embarrass you. I was just surprised." Sadie tilted her chin. "You weren't surprised. You were ashamed. I'd like to try again." She looked at him for a long moment, then glanced past his shoulder to where Eli stood across the road, watching silently. "I'm not the same woman you rejected, Arthur," she said, calm but firm, "and I have no interest in going backward." She left him standing there, mouth slightly open. Chapter 4. The Slow Burn of Hope. Eli invited her to his ranch one Sunday afternoon, his voice as gentle as the breeze that stirred her skirts. "I ain't much for talking, Sadie, never being good with pretty words. You're fine as you are. I see how you carry yourself," he continued, "how you never give up. Don't matter to me how you walk, it's how you live that's mighty." Her throat tightened. "And what do you see in the way I live?" "That you're strong, braver than most, and that I'd be proud if you'd walk beside me." Her breath caught. "Eli, are you asking me to marry you?" He reached into his coat and pulled out a simple silver ring with a small turquoise stone. "I'm asking if you'd stay. Make this your home. And if you'd have me, I'd be the luckiest man this side of the Rockies." Sadie looked at her cane, then at his rough hands. She saw in him a man who never pitied her, never tried to fix her, just quietly offered her peace. "I'd be honored to say yes." Chapter 5. A Love That Stands. They married under the cottonwood tree that bloomed near Eli's pasture. Sadie wore a pale blue dress, and Eli dressed in his Sunday best, color awkward but clean. The town came out for it. Children tossed flower petals, and even old Mr. McGraw wept into his handkerchief. Sadie's limp didn't vanish, but she never let it stop her from riding beside Eli, planting a garden, or building a schoolhouse for the town's growing number of children. They worked side by side, heart steady and joined. Eli's choir became her shelter, and Sadie's fire became his light. Arthur Holland eventually left town, chased by bad debts and worse decisions. No one missed him. But Sadie became the heart of Willow Ridge, and Eli, the steady beat beside her. Final lines. In a world that prized strength over soul, one man saw both in a woman who limped and loved like wildfire. And in return, she found in him the kind of loyalty that never had to shout to be heard. In the end, they didn't just build a life. They built a legacy of quiet courage, where love was never about perfection, but about standing strong together.